Αύριο κλείνει ο 4ος κύκλος των δωρεάν webinars και πραγματικά θα ήθελα να μην συμβαίνουν αυτά που συμβαίνουν αυτή τη στιγμή στην Ευρώπη και να είμαι ακόμη πιο χαρούμενος. Ωστόσο, έχει πέσει λίγο η ομάδα με την έννοια της διάθεσης, γιατί μην ξεχνάμε ότι αυτό που συμβαίνει αυτή τη στιγμή είναι πάρα πολύ σημαντικό και προσπαθούμε να δούμε πώς όλο αυτό εδώ πέρα θα ξεπεραστεί και θα σταματήσει το συντομότερο δυνατό. Ας το ελπίσουμε και ας το ευχηθούμε. Τώρα, από εκεί και πέρα, ας επιστρέψουμε στα δικά μας. Η Hotelier Academy Greece ολοκληρώνει αύριο τον 4ο κύκλο με τα δωρεάν webinars. Ήταν φοβερός κύκλος αυτός, όπως και οι προηγούμενοι βέβαια. Δεν ξέρω κάθε χρόνο πώς θα ξεπεράσουμε τον προηγούμενο. Αυτό που μου είναι η μεγάλη χαρά είναι ότι ολοένα και τα θέματα πρέπει να τα ξαναπιάνουμε ξανά και ξανά. Άρα, κάθε χρόνο έχουμε κάτι καινούργιο να μάθουμε, κάτι καινούργιο να πούμε. Οι ομιλητές έχουν να μας δώσουν διαφορετικές οπτικές. Και πραγματικά ανυπομονώ για την επόμενη χρονιά, γιατί του χρόνου θα αλλάξουμε λίγο το φορμάτ, θα το εξελίξουμε. Και τα θέματα θα τα διευρύνουμε ακόμη παραπάνω. Θα έχει πολύ ενδιαφέρον. Αν θέλετε, γράψτε μου από ποια ξενοδοχεία μας παρακολουθείτε, είτε εσείς που μας παρακολουθείτε από το Facebook, το LinkedIn και το YouTube, αλλά και εδώ πέρα στο Zoom, γιατί θέλω να αναφέρω κάποια από αυτά. Και ξεκινάμε να αναφέρουμε κάποια. Το Ελακάτι Luxury Boutique Hotel στη Ρόδο. Είναι πάντα κοντά μας η Βίκη εδώ πέρα και χαίρομαι πάρα πολύ. Χρόνια τώρα, έτσι. Η Βίκη 3 χρόνια έρχεσαι στα webinars και τα παρακολουθείς όλα. Ο Μάρκος από το Coconut Villas, ένα νέο κατάλημα που θα δημιουργηθεί σε προορισμό έκπληξη. Βλέπουμε εδώ πέρα από τα Χανιά, από την Κρήτη ο Πάνος, ο Δερμιτζάκης, είναι κοντά μας. Από το Φίλιππος Hotel στα Νέα Μουγιανιά. Γράψτε μου κι άλλοι. Μου γράφετε λίγοι σήμερα, θέλω περισσότερους. Βλέπω εδώ πέρα ότι ξεκίνησατε τα καλωσορίσματα και στον Μάικλ, πολύ χαίρομαι. Σήμερα θα έχουμε την εταιρεία Sendine κοντά μας, ή Sendine, τώρα αναλόγως ποια προφορά θα το πούμε, που είναι μια εταιρεία ξενοδοχειακής τεχνολογίας, περισσότερο εστιάζει στο CRM κομμάτι. Και επειδή για το CRM δεν μιλήσαμε ιδιαίτερα, μιλάμε για το PMS, για το Booking Engine, για το Sales Manager, έχει πάρει πολύ ενδιαφέρον να τα δούμε σήμερα αυτά. Λοιπόν, ξεκινάμε με το κλασικό. Τι κάνουμε, να δηλώσετε τώρα. Grow with Google, μια πρωτοβουλία της Google που βοηθάει το ξενοδοχείο σας να αναπτυχθεί. Κατηδίαν συμβουλευτική σε ξενοδόχους, από ειδικά εκπαιδευμένους online advisors της πρωτοβουλίας Grow with Google και συμπεριλαμβάνει ενημέρωση για το πώς μπορείτε να αξιοποιήσετε τα βασικά εργαλεία του διαδικτύου βοηθώντας το ξενοδοχείο σας να αναπτυχθεί. Πολύ σημαντικό. Η τοποθέτηση του ξενοδοχείου σας στους χάρτες της Google είναι κομβικό για τις πωλήσεις σας και πώς μπορείτε να δημιουργήσετε ένα εξατομικευμένο πλάνο marketing. Αυτό το κάνει, σας συμβουλεύει ο ειδικά εκπαιδευμένος advisor της Google, εσάς. Πολύ σημαντικό αυτό, γιατί είναι εξατομικευμένο σε περιβάλλον το οποίο είστε μόνο εσείς και το ξενοδοχείο σας και σίγουρα αυτό θα σας βοηθήσει πάρα πολύ. Η Στέλλα έστειλε τώρα τα links για να μπορέσετε να κάνετε την εγγραφή σας. Παράλληλα με αυτό, μπορείτε να παρακολουθήσετε δωρεάν webinars για το ψηφιακό marketing, πάλι από την Google, από ειδικά καταρτισμένους online advisors για θέματα όπως Google Ads, Google Analytics και άλλα πολλά. Βλέπω εδώ πέρα να έρχεται κοντά μας και άλλος κόσμος, ο κύριος Χνάρης από τα CHC Hotels στην Κρήτη, πολύ δραστήριος επαγγελματίας. Τίνος Alex Studio, η Τίνος πόσο αναπτύσσεται, με το Desk Setters. Να σας πω κιόλας, έτσι, ξέχασα. Εγώ είμαι ο Νίκος Αγοράντης, ένας από τους δύο συνηθιστές της Hotelier Academy και κανονικά το επάγγελμά μου είναι με το Desk Setters που αναπτύσσουμε ξενοδοχειακά concepts. Δηλαδή κάνουμε όλη την προδιαγραφή, το concept, την ιδέα, αλλά και τη μελέτη για να βγάλουμε τα χαρακτηριστικά, τύπους δωματίων και όλα αυτά, για να πάμε στον αρχιτέκτονα μελετημένοι και με ένα στρατηγικό πλάνο. Εδώ, μια φορά το χρόνο, έρχομαι ως οικοδεσπότης, γιατί κάποιος πρέπει να υποδεχτεί όλο αυτόν τον κόσμο. Και εννοείται με το Ζένιο που αποφασίσαμε, ο Ζένιος δηλαδή, να στείλει εμένα. Καταλαβαίνετε, όχι και ο Ζένιος δεν μπορεί να το κάνει, αλλά θεώρησε καλό να στείλει εμένα. Λοιπόν, στην Τίνο κάνουμε 2 νέα καταλύματα, πολύ ωραία καταλύματα και τα 2, με πολύ ιδιαίτερο όνομα, ειδικά το ένα, το οποίο οι ιδιοκτήτες, θυμάμαι, ήταν η ιδέα της ιδιοκτήτριας το όνομα. Δεν θα σας το αποκαλύψω ακόμη. Όσοι μας ακολουθείτε στους τεστ θα το μάθετε, αλλά μιλάμε για πολύ ωραία δουλειά. Λοιπόν, πάμε να δούμε τους χορηγούς μας, γιατί χωρίς αυτούς δεν θα γινόταν το event. Αρχικά, Foundry Suites. Για να δω, έχει ανεβεί ο αριθμός των ακολούθων. Βλέπω από το πρωί δεν κάνατε πάρα πολύ follow. Κάντε follow το The Foundry Suites όσοι δεν το έχετε κάνει. Είναι ένα πάρα πολύ ωραίο ξενοδοχείο και έχει ένα πολύ ωραίο timeline. Γενικά, είναι ωραίο να παρακολουθείτε λογαριασμούς στο Instagram, οι οποίοι έχουν κάτι να μας δώσουν. Το The Foundry Suites είναι ένας από αυτούς τους λογαριασμούς. Επίσης, το The Foundry Suites μας έκανε τόσο όμορφα τα webinar μας. Άρα, εννοείται ότι θα το στηρίξουμε κι εμείς, γιατί κι αν είναι το ξενοδοχείο μας και εμείς θα θέλουμε να μας ακολουθήσουν. Λοιπόν, δείτε τι ωραίο έχουμε το Foundry Suites. Πολύ το αγαπάω αυτό το ξενοδοχείο. Λοιπόν, υποστηρικτές. Εκτός από τα μέσα τα οποία μας στηρίζουν επικοινωνιακά, όπως είναι το 100% Hotel Show, η έκθεση για τα ξενοδοχεία που θα έχει 10η επέτειο φέτος, με πολύ ιδιαίτερο κόνσεπτ. Το επιχειρό που είναι επιχειρηματικό media, το e-travel news με τον Αλέξη Σωτηρόπουλο, πραγματικά αξιόπιστο ιδιοσιογραφικό media του τουρισμού, Skywalker Portal εργασίας και το GTP, Quick Travel Pages, πολυεπίπεδη πλατφόρμα, με τον Χάρη τον Βρουσαλιάν στο PR, πραγματικά το ξαναλέω. Πείτε μου ποιος δεν ξέρει τον Χάρη Βρουσαλιάν. Δεν γίνεται, το ξέρετε όλοι. Οπότε, αυτή είναι η χορηγή επικοινωνία μας. Και από εκεί και πέρα έχουμε τους μεγάλους χορηγούς μας, όπως η εταιρεία Candia με ξενοδοχειακά στρώματα, έχει ειδικές συλλογές για ξενοδοχεία. Coffee Island, η οποία έχει κάνει μια πολύ ωραία προσέγγιση στην ξενοδοχειακή αγορά και μπράβο τους. Και θα δώσω και θα στείλω και συγχαρητήρια και στον Αλέξανδρο, που είναι ο CEO της εταιρείας, για τον Αχιλλέα που έκανε την παρουσίαση που ήταν εξαιρετική προχθές, να το δείτε. Epsilon Hospitality με το Pilot PMS, αύριο ένα πολύ ωραίο webinar από την Epsilon Hospitality και πάντα η Epsilon βγάζει ωραία webinars. Εταιρεία Ideas, ήταν χθες το RMS, είδατε διαρκείς και περισσότερες τεχνολογίες, που μας βοηθάει να αποφασίσουμε τη τιμολογιακή μας στρατηγική. Η εταιρεία Sweetbat με τα tablets, τα οποία δεν είναι απλά tablets, απλά μας βοηθάνε επίσης να μειώσουμε τα κόστη, γιατί μπορεί να περιορίσεις τις υπηρεσίες μέσα από αυτό, αλλά και να αυξήσεις το revenue από in-hotel sales. Και το The Hotel Content Company, που το τρέχει η Μαρία η Μαραγιανού, το οποίο πραγματικά νομίζω ότι μας απασχολήσει πάρα πολύ, γιατί κάνει εξαιρετικό περιεχόμενο και αφού έχουμε όλα αυτά τα κανάλια, τι χρειαζόμαστε? Περιεχόμενο. Όταν λέω περιεχόμενο, τι εννοώ? Περιεχόμενο από την προδιαγραφή της φωτογράφησης και όχι τη φωτογράφηση, γιατί τη φωτογράφηση την κάνουν εξειδικευμένοι φωτογράφοι. Απλά πρέπει κάποιος να την οργανώσει και να ζητήσει από τον φωτογράφο τα σωστά πράγματα. Το περιεχόμενο για το website σας, με ειδική τεχνική, έτσι ώστε να απαντάει και στην εμπορικότητα και στο SEO, άρθρα για το SEO σας, τι άλλο περιεχόμενο, ειδικές B2B παρουσιάσεις για όσους δουλεύουν με travel agents, περιεχόμενο, και social media εννοείται. Περιεχόμενο, τίποτα άλλο. Είναι εξειδικευμένη η ομάδα του σε αυτό. Η Μαρία Μαραγιανού είναι η καπετάνισσα σε αυτό. Λοιπόν, τα είπα όλα και δεν έχω φτάσει καν το τέταρτο. Δηλαδή, έχω και ακόμη 4 λεπτά να καλωσορίσω και κάποιους ακόμη, όπως το οικίες από τη Μύκονο που μας έγραψε στα social media, το Μύκονος Μούσα. Πόσο μ' αρέσει η Μύκονος. Δηλαδή, τώρα αλήθεια, πρέπει να το πούμε αυτό, έτσι. Ότι η Μύκονος ό,τι και να κάνει, δηλαδή όσο κόσμο και να έχει, αν πας στη σωστή εποχή, δεν υπάρχει περίπτωση να μην ενθουσιαστείς. Γιατί προσφέρει ένα μοναδικό προϊόν. Φέτος το καλοκαίρι πήγαινα για ένα project στην Ικαρία που κάνουμε ένα καινούριο concept και μετά πέρασα και έκατσα μια βραδιά στην Μύκονο. Δεν συγκρίνω σε αυτούς τους δύο προορισμούς, έτσι. Ίσα-ίσα πιστεύω να ξέρετε ότι η Ικαρία θα τροφοδοτηθεί με πολύ κόσμο από τη Μύκονο, αν αξιοποιηθεί σωστά. Και εμείς το κατάλληλο που θα φτιάξουμε εκεί θα είναι πραγματικά πολύ καλό, γιατί είναι και πολύ καλοί επενδυτές, σαν μυαλά. Λοιπόν, τι ωραία στη Μύκονο η αίσθηση. Δηλαδή, οι υποδομές που αναπτύσσονται, τα μαγαζιά προσεγμένα. Είχα φάει και μια φοβερή ομελέτα στον Γυαλό, που όταν θεωρώ τουριστικά, αλλά εκεί είχε ανοίξει ένα μαγαζί, δεν θυμάμαι πώς λέγεται. Αλλά νομίζω ότι είναι πάλι στην ίδια λυσίδα με τα Ενίζη και είχα πάει μια φοβερή ομελέτα και ο τρόπος παρουσίασης. Εντάξει, πληρώνω λίγο παραπάνω, τι να κάνουμε. Αλλά η ποιότητα που έχει αυτό το νησί και η ομορφιά που έχει σε ένα μεγάλο επίπεδο είναι πραγματικά μοναδικά. Βέβαια, είναι καλό να αρχίσουμε να φέρουμε ξανά λίγο την αυθεντικότητα, έτσι, και στην Μύκονο. Είναι καλό αυτό. Λοιπόν, τώρα, πού θα πάω? Δεν θα πάω στο Foundry ακριβώς, θα πάω σε μια virtual έκδοση του Foundry και θα υποδεχτώ τον Michael Marchand από την εταιρεία Sentai, η οποία είναι μια εταιρεία η οποία προσφέρει CRM για ξενοδοχεία και θα δούμε τι κάνουμε με CRM και θα δούμε τι θα μας πει. Michael, είσαι κοντά μας? Welcome.
Kalispera, that's my only Greek stuff.
Yes. Welcome, Michael. Thank you very much for being with us today. I'm really, really glad that we have some time at Hotelier Academy Webinars, and I'm pretty sure that your presentation will be really, really helpful for us.
I make it lively. I think there's a lot of things that we can talk about, and as I got from your presentation, although it was in Greek, I think you stressed the importance of technology nowadays, and well, I'll give you a little bit of update to the audience and yourself as well. What CRM is able to do for you in these days, actually. So,
what I mentioned before to our Greek friends here is that we talk a lot about PMS, about booking engine, but we don't pay attention at CRM. That is the basis of many things. Yes. And we don't use to use it or to invest on that. But I believe that the presentation will cover us 100%. So I'm closing my microphone, my camera. You can share your presentation, and we're here to enjoy you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll share my screen, and please let me know once you're going to see my screen.
Of course, of course.
On your side.
Yes, perfect. We can see your screen.
Perfect. Welcome again, everybody in the audience right now. It's a big pleasure to be here. And again, Kalispera. I improve that next time you're going to see me possibly in Athens, because I like your language, I like your country as well. Let's talk about CRM as well. So the benefits, why it is important, and what you can get out of it. Because obviously, as Nikos just said, it's not something you should think about technology, but it's something that really will help you to improve your performance and stand out the crowd of other hotels next door. So we talk about a CRM today and why it is important as well. Just quickly to myself, I come from hotel background as well. I'm the EMEA sales director, and I worked for Marriott before. I worked for Intercons before, and Accor. And then I worked over and went over to Trust You. Some of you might still know me from Trust You or know Trust You for online reputation management. So I've got a background of hotel, which is helpful in my position because I can really understand the needs more than somebody who does not come from a hotel background. So possibly, I'm just making it up right now, but I think that really helps me. And I could see in my time when I was a hotel director, in my times, that technology would be a big help because there's so much data floating around in the area and that we could really use. And now, if you look at the fact that the cookies are going to go away, so cookieless world is coming up, the data that you collect directly via your PMS, via the CRM, that even gets more important right now. Yeah, but we're going to talk about that in a second, actually. So we've got a couple of points that we're going to discuss. Benefits of a cloud-based CRM and how it improves the guest experience. So we're going to touch that base, very important. There's always a little bit of a fear, like how do I implement PMS and CRM? Is that a big thing? We're going to talk about the PMS and CRM integration, how it works and why it would be beneficial. Then you've got your staff. How can the staff benefit from a CRM? Information about data of guests as well. And as we all know, workforce is going down right now. So it's tough to find the right people anymore in these grim times. And it's even harder to really have somebody looking after your technology. And we're going to discuss that a little bit and how to implement in that time without having a workforce as well. So this is something as well that we need to discuss. We've got some questions about investing in the CRM. So why should you invest in the CRM? We're going to talk about that. And then we talk about a couple of success stories we already had with our customers, because we are one of the biggest providers globally in the CRM world. And we've got a lot of, people we work with, companies we work with, and that's something we can share successes with. So the benefits of a CRM, let's talk about that, but I want to kick it off with a quote from one of our customers, actually, and I'll read it out. Well, as a hotel industry, we collect a lot of information about our customers, such as when they travel, how they make their reservation, and what they do when they experience the hotel. This wealth of information is used to understand the customer and personalized experience. However, the question arises, how do we manage all that data? And this comes from Jumeirah, one of our long-standing customers as well. And they are using the CRM as well. We talk about the outcome and what the benefits are for Jumeirah using our CRM at the end of the webinar. So let's have a look at that. Personalization is not longer a nice to have, it's a must. There's so much floating around, yeah? So you've got so much information, and personalization is the key. If you want to make sure that guests book with you direct, personalization is the key, yeah? So because just an example from my side, if I get an email from a hotel group and say on a regular basis because I signed up on a newsletter, I pay attention to that, but just if it's really pointed out to me, yeah, so that I see they understand what I need, because I left information with them already. I said I'm a big shopper on the weekend, so I would go back and say and consider that hotel more than any other hotel in the area I'm going to travel to, yeah. And that is backed up actually by some studies that were done by McKinsey, for example, and they did a study that say that over 70% of customers are expecting a personalized interaction, actually. So they're expecting that. Yeah? It's not just like, oh, it's nice to have. People expect that. Over 75% say they get frustrated, like me, if it's not personalized anymore. Yeah. So that's something as well. And for you as a hotelier, you have to see that a personalized communication will also have a benefit for you, because you make more money. Yeah. You make more revenue, so up to 70% more revenue in your pocket, straight in your finance, when you send out a personalized communication to the guests, because they're more willing to spend on property. Yeah, it's like me. So if I feel comfortable, it's like a psychological thing. If I know they know me and they know my needs and my wishes and my interests as well, I'd rather spend more money there. I go to the bar, I go to the restaurant, rather than going out. But again, this is just a psychological thing that's sometimes plays a big role over here. Data is key for success. If you want to achieve a high level of personalization, the data needs to be accurate, and it's important to look at technology, but you have to have it keep it on a low level, actually. So you don't want to have the technology taking over. Yeah, you want the technology to assist you to make sure that the whole process goes quicker, easier, and more direct, actually. Yeah. And of course, now with smaller teams, a lot of people were made redundant because of the crisis, and you've got tighter budgets. You have to see that it's a fundamental area that's all the areas work together in a way. And you should use that technology to complement that, yeah? Not just taking that one step, so really get the synergy between them. Well, you can use technology to automate all of these communications, actually. So it's automate that, makes more sense. You can have a strategy in place, and then you just get more information. You make synergies between the sales and revenue departments, marketing and distribution. But what you also shouldn't forget, inform your operations stuff as well. A lot of hoteliers think a CRM is simply an administration marketing tool. It's not. Yeah? If you share information that you know about a guest arriving, if you share that with housekeeping or with reception or even with reservation, the whole process of personalization is kicked off there already. It's not just really sending out a message, but share the data, information about the guest already with your guest. With your team ops team. Yeah, it's so important. Prepare the room. let housekeeping know that say Peter's arriving and Peter likes whatever feather pillows. So things like that are very important actually. Or set up the restaurant for a very high or VIP guest and make sure that say he or she is sitting on the right table or gets the right wine without asking, things like that. Yeah. So there's a lot of information that that's in there and sits in that you can use for your success. Yeah. CRM system is the central warehouse. Yeah, so you put every existing technology you might have, like of course, to the CRM. Of course, it makes sense to have any kind of PMS integration, which is key to the whole scenario, because CRM is basically taking technology from data from the PMS to inform that the system as well. So CRM needs the data. And data will come from different PMSs. So if you're a hotel group, in comparison to a single hotel, so you can also think of having all these PMSs grouped together in one CRM platform. Yeah. So why is that important? Because you have to have all the information about the guest, get enriched profiles. Yeah. So you don't just want to know like Michael stayed 3 times. Well, you can look at the PMS, but if you know Michael stayed 3 times and in different hotels, and all the different hotels put in different information about Michael, you want to know that. Yeah, you want to know that, and possibly he's staying in one of your hotels first time, but stayed in another hotel before. Use that technology. It's all there. Single properties, of course, same scenario. You can add value there as well, where you say, okay, that's the information from the PMS, but we're going to add a data from, let's say, Wi-Fi. You might have a Wi-Fi system and you have digital nomads. In my time when I was a hotelier, there were no digital nomads. They just came in. But nowadays they sit in the lobby, log in, do their work, have a coffee. You might want to target them as well for your next wedding, for the next social event that's going on, because you know they're set into your hotel and just got all the information from you. You share that, you put that in and contact these ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. There are some key benefits we're going to talk about, like guest engagement. The more you know about the guest, I tapped that already, the more you can connect with them, and you can connect with them in a meaningful manner. Yeah, it's not just like, hey, dear Peter, also dear sir or dear lady or something like that. You possibly can touch base with them already in the first name, last name, if that's necessary. Yeah. I just touched that. Rather than sending out personalization, rather than sending out generic communications, hotel can send targeted ones, relevant communication, and targeted to the needs. Yeah. Greater engagement and personalization is higher guest satisfaction. Yeah, simply as that. They even post something better on the web. If you use Trust You, Review Pro, Revinate, or anything like that, you will see a big benefit if you personalize the stay of the guest. You will see that. That's a simple fact, because people go back and say like, hey, that was such a great stay. They knew me. They knew exactly what I wanted, prepared the room possibly. I'll go back and type it in. Yeah, and then it really leads into new bookings, higher bookings, because still people look at Google reviews, look at booking.com reviews and things like that. Yeah. It also strengthens the loyalty to your brand. So people become brand advocates. Yeah. Going out and share information about their good personalization, the good stay and personalized the experience they have, and share that with friends and family. Yeah, friends and family. So I'm a very, very good contributor to experiences when somebody says like, hey, Mike, you stayed in Athens. Where did you stay? I say ABC. And they say like, hey, how was it? And I say, oh, beautiful, to my colleagues. And they say, hey, I'm going to stay there next time as well, because I tell them exactly how it is. So the more personalized, the better it gets. You know? So CRM functions are automated, saves you time, stuff, and increases efficiency. It's something that's, of course, there's a lot of people say like CRM, oh, that will just take away time. I've got no time. I've got limited stuff. If you set up a strategy and you use a CRM and you put that strategy into technology, it really is not necessary to have a huge team to run a CRM, because the CRM, and that's the key thought of a CRM, will be taking labor away from your team actually, so that you can concentrate more on the guests' needs on property. We even had a client in Munich in Germany, And she said now, oh, I'm using your CRM right now. And that leaves my receptionist more to the fact that they can talk to the guest more. Yeah. So because they don't have to send out any kind of communication, it's all done automatically. Things like that. Yeah. And CRM, of course, drives higher profitability because of the automation, repeat business, direct bookings. You can upsell. That's another big benefit if you know what guests stayed at what hotel, for example. So you can really upsell the group if you're a group, and of course cross-sell. Yeah, sorry, upsell internally and then cross-sell to other hotels in the group as well. So I think this is very good because that lowers also the cost of acquisition. Yeah, I mean, how hard is that to get new people in there? How much marketing budget you spend to get people coming through your door? In this case, they are on property. Why not upsell them? Why not cross-sell them to the other properties? Because you know where they stayed, what they want, what the interests are. Use the intelligence. It's there. It's all in your hands. And again, I refer back to the start of the webinar today. First key data, first party data is key. It's going to be key to success. And you sit on gold mines. You sit on gold mines. Yeah. All right, let's talk about the PMS and CRM integration right now. A lot of hotels actually and hotel chains still use the PMS as the primary hub of a hotel operation, so that as the central warehouse where I store my data, which is not bad. I'm not blaming any PMS. PMS is a good source. I like them because they've got a lot of data intelligence there, and you can use a lot of things there as well. So and stay and keep information up there. But what it doesn't do actually is in the more complex times now, in the more complex scenarios right now, so where new technology comes up, PMS is limited because PMS in the end of the day is a check-in, check-out machine, which is beautiful, brilliant, and they do a little bit more. They do confirmations for incoming reservations and so forth, but it's a PMS, a property management system. It's not a communication or a CRM scenario, and a CRM a tool as well. So this is why the integration between PMS and CRM is really important, actually. Yeah. PMS, as I said, provides fantastic information for establishing metrics like recency, frequency, and monitoring, but it doesn't tell you a lot of about the guest itself, like preferences, demographics, or did they stay in other hotels as well. So it's more like a PMS itself. It's more like it's focused on the hotel itself. It's not looking at the brand, but that's another key factor. Yeah, one PMS, one hotel. Even if you work in an MPE, a multi-property edition of a PMS, it's still focused on one hotel and not really looking into the wider picture as well. So, and if you want to deliver an exceptional experience, I think all properties should be connected. And now it's the guest interest, and then you get the interest from the guests in one centralized piece of technology, which is the CRM actually. Yeah. The hotel CRM as a central hub. We had the similar picture before already, so where you can see like what can be included. But as you can see, there's so much more out there. So the CRM represents the ideal solution and can act or should act as a central repository for the guest data management. Yeah. You can use the CRMs nowadays, should be set up with an open API technology. So when you're looking for a CRM, make sure you look for one that gives you an open API technology, because you don't want to be dependent on what the provider gives you. You want to have your strategy, you want to have your technology. For example, Web Hotelier as an IBE, a lot of you will use Web Hotelier as a booking engine. You want to have that integrated. Yeah. If it's not integrated, you're missing a lot of data, which is down there actually. Yeah. That's what I really can say about technology. Get a central cloud-based scenario. It must be safe as well. Yeah. So CRM nowadays must be an SaaS, software as a service. You have to push it into the cloud, because that's exactly where you want to have your data, in a safe environment where you can access that on the go, where you can access that even when your system locally might be down. So we're moving away from local PMS integrations to even the PMS is going to be in the cloud now. And you want to have your data centralized in a hotel CRM central hub in a cloud as well. Yeah. So why does it matter? Again, some of these points are repeating themselves. You get an enhanced profile, yeah, with the information from the PMS and the CRM. When they're stitched together, you can turn data into action. And with the enhanced guest profiles, you get accessible and usable for, you can use them as accessible and usable for targeting marketing campaigns, actually. And go even deeper, yeah. It's an actual intelligence that you go. And by consolidating and leveraging your hotel data business between the PMS and CRM, and you can track real-time successes, and it helps you to determine a future revenue and marketing decisions. So it's not just a to look at system anymore. You base your decisions on what you have in the CRM as well. Yeah. So the CRM is really the hub for what you do. Yeah. You can also go into a lookalike modeling. If you look at the intelligence, how to influence the message and frequency of marketing campaigns, you can even go into a lookalike modeling, yeah, because you know now for the first time across your group or for your hotel, who is my best guest, what's my best guest interest, and if you want to find new guests, why not use that intelligence you already have of guests that stayed at your property, and you know exactly like, hey, basically it's my best guest is female, age group 35 to 45, travels with the family over the weekend. You know, why not? If they bring the most money in, these are your best guests and come frequently. Why not use that information? Yeah, and CRM and PMS will just definitely give you more information about that. Yeah. And once integrated, PMS data guides marketing, outreach, and customer communication in the CRM. Personalized, dynamic, and automated messages keep the guest engaged. Very important. Yeah, you don't want just to send one message. You want to have a tree of messages. If somebody opens something, the CRM will recognize that and see like, hey, Michael opened my communication, but what comes then? Yeah, so the system can be set up to say like, hey, if he opened that, we send another message, or if he didn't open that within 5 days, this message goes out. So it's very important actually to have that connection done and then set up the system the way that you have meaningful communication with the guest. Yeah. So let's talk about the growing business, CRM, and improving staff productivity, and because that's another big key factor now. And as I mentioned before, like lower staff or lower number of staff people and people working for you. So who's taking what? Yeah. So I mean, typically, if we talk about the marketing manager right now, typically marketing department plays the lead role in the CRM. That's a key. So obviously, besides the fact that I said share information on with your operations team, of course, the marketing manager or the marketing team will be the key driver of the CRM, yeah, acting as a primary user and key operator. And they are the guardians of the hotel brand. The marketing manager ensures that all guest communications are on brand and on message as well. Yeah. Additionally, as a primary generator of demand, they use the CRM system to find opportunities. So it's always like go to marketing and say like, hey, I need new guests. I'm missing something. There's a gap in August. Get me some people down there, yeah, and to increase the profits. Marketing manager also acts as a data scientist, yeah, because you analyze that. If you work with a CRM on a daily basis, it's something that you get familiar with, and you extract the data and run the reports and inform the colleagues. And again, this is now a communication hub between all parties within the organization. Yeah, so it runs normally from the marketing department to share information, to share knowledge about the guest from the heavy users, I would say. Yeah. Front office manager, of course, very important, key departments in a hotel business as well. Whereas marketing focuses on engaging with guests before and after their stay, the front office works in real time. people are coming to reception, ensuring that everything is in order for the guests' arrival, acting as the key point of contact throughout the stay. Yeah, so the front office team plays a vital role in the CRM because they interact with the guests in person and on the phone. So it's good to share information with that team as well, because that's the first point of personalization. Yeah. The job of the front office is to keep the guests coming back by wowing and dazzling and charming them. Of course, I come from hotel reception as well, so I was always the face of the hotel. So when you arrive, the first thing you see is my face. It looked better when I was working at hotels, so it's aging. But that's very important. Front desk is also a key touch point for data collection. So sometimes you might have somebody who booked something by an OTA and you want to make sure that they get the best information about the hotel. So ask them to give them the email address. If you just have a booking.com email address via the booking, or even ask them to join a loyalty scheme or your newsletter, yeah, because then the guest will be informed directly by yourself and gets the best offers, the best available rates, and things like that. Yeah. The staff should check guest profiles and update information during the check-in and other points of contact. This is a standard operation procedure. We always say, and if a CRM is implemented, make sure that the provider will also give you standard operation procedures, knowledge how that worked in other operations they served for in the past, because that will just will have a crucial part. It's technology, but it must be driven by people, yeah, and people in the end are the drivers of the technology, not the other way around. We make technology work for us, yeah, but still we have to say this is how the technology should work. If you have a guest relations manager, normally that is in my times that was the same like the receptionist actually. So you don't have a guest relations managers, not all of you. But it's primarily the concerns, the guest relation manager with the guest satisfaction and advocacy. While every manager plays a role in listening to and acting on guest feedback, the guest relation manager takes primary responsibility for managing feedback, because obviously if I get a feedback and I'm the GRM, I instantly respond. Yeah? And this includes monitoring feedback channels like whatever they go to, Google, for example, yeah. Get the information to the appropriate departments. You know, you can share that straight away and put that into the CRM as well. Every data should be able to be put into the CRM. So basically, the CRM you're going for, if you're going to go for one in the future or now, make sure the CRM allows you to put in data on the spot. Yeah, it's very important because if you don't have that ability, a lot of data will be lost. Yeah, as much data as we can do and as much technology we can put into a hotel, it will always happen that a guest will come to reception and just have a good feedback or bad feedback, and you want to track that, yeah, because you know something about the guest. The guest gave you data, they gave you information, and if a CRM is not capable of doing that, there are other ways, of course, to put in information, but that would be a lack of usability of a CRM. Revenue manager. Oh God! So these are the people in the hotel who know everything about everything. Basically, that's a true fact. I was always a salesperson and a receptionist, and the revenue manager was always the one having the knowledge. So welcome to every revenue manager in the call today. You know a lot. So revenues manager is primarily concerned about driving revenue. Of course, this is part of that. They normally use the CRM software, and they think it's tend to be limited because CRM efforts have a direct impact on the revenue generation. They have an important stake in their success. Let's say if a hotel is forecasting to fall short of a budget, a targeted email campaign, we had that before, with an offer may provide more revenue, to achieve the budget. So revenue manager therefore works closely with the CRM team to identify revenue opportunities and create marketing campaigns, play their part, build up guest satisfaction. Because the marketing team is normally not the department who identifies any kind of gap in revenue. That's down to the revenue manager. But this is why revenue management, CRM, and marketing should normally work together in a close relationship. So get information like, hey, we've got a gap there. We need more revenue. Dear marketing team, what can you do? Can you run a campaign? This is the offer that we want to run through. And well, this is a, very important. CRM is very important for revenue managers as well. The GM, improving staff productivity. If you're responsible for keeping guests, employees, and owners happy, the GM is pulling in many directions. Pulled in many directions. By providing daily snapshots of guest activities, special requests, and guest feedback, the CRM will just help the GM to save time and stay informed. So that's why we, for example, also provide a CRM arrival list. That means CRM arrival list means what guests are arriving on the day. That's different to the PMS arriving list, because PMS arriving list says Michael, merchant, price, source of business. That means direct booking or OTA or whatever, maybe company and all that, but that's all just facts. Within the CRM arrival list, which I really recommend to share with the whole team, including operations, we'll have information about interests and information about last stays, information about problems they might have had in the past, or recommendations they gave you in the past. So that's very important. So have a CRM arrival list with information more than just the PMS can give you as well. For the GM to be involved in the CRM, it depends on the structure of a hotel. In smaller hotels, GM may actively participate in marketing. That's what I learned. Revenue management and guest relation efforts, he's in there as well. If you're in a larger hotel operation, the GM normally leaves the day-to-day decisions to the hotel manager, for example, or department heads, and he focuses on planning, leadership, and staff development. But in any size of hotel, GM must ensure that the staff fulfills the CRM responsibilities, follow the best practices, deliver on brand promises, be the face of the hotel, and things like that. So that's more the GM. So the GM is more likely not the rights or the primary use of a CRM, normally digests the information that comes in and relies on the team. And the team can then effectively report back to the GM what's happening there, who's arriving today, how shall we prepare the room, what VIP guests are coming, and things like that. Market more efficiently, boost your bottom line with a CRM. With a CRM, hotels can consolidate data and integrate all guest profile data into one central database. We had that many times before right now. And seamlessly integrate other systems as well, like CRS, of course, the PMS, POS, like Micros. You might want to integrate that. If you've got data that floats in, you might want to know who came to your restaurant, who stayed at your restaurant, and you want to send out a message to these people as well, to the guests as well. Furthermore, the centralized data warehouse allows hotel groups to connect their properties, track guest behavior, preferences across the portfolio, and it also enables enterprise-level marketing automation on multiple channels to drive growth across the brand. It's slightly repeating, but you can see where the journey goes to. It's really like a data platform that increases the revenue level, well, just a bottom line actually across the group rather than just one hotel actually. You can collect data at a key point touch. You can collect the data at key touch points in the customer life cycle. Segment the guests based on interests. That's what a CRM does. Preferences and behavior. That's what a good CRM should do for you. Good CRM should not really give you the only options like it goes by gender, it goes by country, it goes by source or something. You should also know like possibly age group, possibly interests should be there so that you can slice and dice down the data. And you want to mark it out to the people who said like, hey, I'm coming to the town because of snow skiing or diving or whatever. Yeah, you want to know that information and then target these people rather than just going out and say like, I send one message out to all people from England or from Spain or something like that. Yeah, but you want to be more specific. Yeah? This is what the CRM will definitely do for you. Yeah, so you can segment the guests. Yeah, use the list to send automated hyper-targeted emails and ads to engage guests, drive bookings, and fill need states. Yeah, again, this is something that you work closely with the revenue department as well. Yeah? So when the budgets are tight, you can't afford to rely on guesswork and intuition. So you want to know you don't have time to waste on just spreading out one message and just typing in every time. You want to have specific, dedicated work to be done and send it out to the right guest at the right time. Yeah. CRM technology provides clean data cleansing, consolidation, enrichment, and gives you the confidence you need to make a data-driven decision to minimize the risk and optimize the results. A key thing when you connect a PMS to a CRM is that there is a cleanup because you want to have actionable data. Cleanup means the system should look on duplicates, and match and merge them. Yeah, so that you end up in the most in the best case actually. That you end up with one profile per one guest. Why is that important? Because you don't want to spam people. You don't want to send them messages twice, 3, 4, 5 times. You want to have actionable profiles as well. Yeah, so that you can really target them. And again, targeting is personalization. Not all guests have the same value for you. Of course, there are different guests who pay more and less guests pay less and things like that. But if you look at the 80-20 rule, 80% of a business revenue is produced by 20% of the customers. Yeah, so that's a given fact actually. And with a CRM powerful analytics tool, which is the BI that should be provided, most of the CRM providers have their own BI tools. Some of them are powered by Power BI, like Sendan in this case, and Cognos, IBM Cognos. You want to have a solid analytics tool. You can identify most profitable guests and send them customized offers. Yeah, because why send out a message and an offer to 100% of your database when you know that 20% of your guests will do the business for you? Just target them, get them into a personalized communication, because you know they come back and then they spend money with you. And again, looking back into what I said before, they even spend more if it's targeted. Yeah, so things like that. Upsell processes can be automated with a CRM, sending targeted and tailored, say, a pre-stay offers. Yeah, that's what a CRM does for you as well. We send out a pre-stay communication, not just a confirmation, like, thank you very much for booking, Michael. Yeah? But you can pre-stay and inform the guest as well. Offer them upgrades or pre-order any kind of amenities, pick up at the airport, a bottle of champagne in the room because I'm traveling with my partner. Things like that. Yeah, ask them for meals, on-site activities. Base it on what you know about the guest. Don't send it out like to everybody, but base it on the knowledge you have about the guest if it's a repeating guest. Drawing from a single source of guest data, you can also analyze the guests' spending patterns and target guests who spend more on the property with the right, say, offer at spa, restaurant, or bar. Most CRMs nowadays try to do that, but just some have a kind of content that you can add. We call it dynamic content, because if you send out a pre-arrival communication, you want to make sure that Michael gets a different one than Peter. Yeah, because from Peter, you know, he's a weekend shopper. So the system will help you, because that's your strategy, will help you to put a shopping weekend bundle in for Peter, but you know Michael is a spa goer, he likes spa, and then the system will automatically put an offer in for Michael in the spa. So both get a confirmation or a pre-arrival, but it's completely different. Yeah, because obviously then you can filter that out. And then again, I'm the personalized person, then yeah, I get personalized offers. I'd rather stay with you or rather book that and spend more money. Yeah. And that's the same thing for OTA commissions. You want to lower them, yeah. Of course, you want to have more direct bookings. Automated personalized communication powered by a CRM will help engage guests to book through your channels and build loyalty, reducing third-party bookings and increasing direct bookings. And this is the key factor if you look for return on investment on a CRM. So why should I use a CRM? Personalization, but yeah, it's nice to have. But what does it do? Make people loyal, make people special, make people feel welcome, make people feel at home. Why? Because they will book with you direct. They want to give something back to you. They want to say like, hey, basically they take care of me and I take care of them because they take care of me. Yeah. And then I book direct. I'm not going to booking.com because it's €5 less in the rate, because then I have to type in all my things in booking.com and say, yeah, what do you want? Da, 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 da. No one knows me at booking.com, because the booking.com might know me, but the hotel I'm going to, they don't know me. So it's always crucial to have that direct booking increase and decrease of commissions. Yeah? So that will, in fact, have an impact on the spend that you might make into a CRM if you want to buy a CRM. Yeah, we can see increases of direct bookings with, we're going to have a couple of case studies later, but we can see direct booking increase up to 30%. Yeah, and it's not just the increase of direct bookings, because then you don't pay commission, maybe a little bit for your booking engine, but you won't pay 20-25% to booking.com. Yeah, and the guest is more happy because gets information straight away, personalized offers and so forth. Yeah. And nothing drives profitability like repeat guests. Yeah, make them loyal. Yeah, personalize the guest communication. By doing that, hotels nurture brand loyalty and reduce reliance on OTA and discount-driven marketing. Yeah, how much do you spend into marketing to get people through your doors? Use the ones that you have. Make sure they are loyal, and put that in there. And I come to that point again that I mentioned right now. So it's well documented that a positive online reputation fuels the room demand and the pricing power. By using CRM to engage guests and cater to individual needs and preferences, you will earn higher guest satisfaction and better online ratings. Touched that before, because the online ratings are still important. And by integrating guest survey and an online review tool with the CRM, you can collect valuable guest feedback, feeds results directly into guest profiles. That's another point that a CRM should really do. The data that comes in from a guest, you need to store that under the guest's profile. That's important for a CRM, because then again, you want to have one-stop shop. You want to have one point where all information about Peter Smith comes in. And even if Peter came back with a survey and a review, you want to have that in there, because you can use that. You can use that to communicate with Peter, saying, hey, thank you very much for your good review. For that, whatever, I'll give you a glass of wine. How good is that? How certain will Peter book with you direct next time? 100%. Drive direct bookings. I'm sorry, I'm just going over some of these points we talked about that. I keep it a little bit shorter right now. But increasing direct bookings and reducing OTA bookings is the goal. Yeah. But how can a CRM help? And we touched that already. But make sure to capture your guest's email address. It's sometimes hard. I remember that. It's obvious, but not easily. But can easily be slipped through the net actually. So you need that. Best opportunity to get the guest's email address is at check-in. Still, even if it comes from a booking.com, ask the guest. Why not? Standard operation procedure. If the guest is reluctant, you can also use incentives like access to online guest portals, very good one, by the way, or direct notifications about events that you will get. We're going to invite you, dear guest, if you sign up with us directly. We've got nice events going on. You get preferred entries or something like that, activities in the local area during your stay. We inform you. Besides that, tactic there is also the opportunity to ask for the guests and say for the email address when accessing the Wi-Fi. Give Wi-Fi free of charge, my advice, because it's the easiest way to capture email addresses, first name, last name. Give it free of charge, but why not ask in return, ask the email address and first name, last name for that? Yeah? Or go for free non-sign up, a lower bandwidth, a Wi-Fi access, and if somebody wants to have a higher bandwidth, just go in and say, yeah, you get that free of charge, but give me your name and email address. Yeah, so things like that. Yeah? While your guests are on the property, maximize the opportunity to showcase all that you have to offer. Yeah, why not send them something on the spot? If you know that a guest stays 3-4 nights, why not send a meaningful communication on day 2, inviting the guest for 2 for 1 at the bar? Yeah, because you know Michael likes to drink whatever, gin and tonic or something like that, which is a true fact. Provide a personal and memorable experience that will encourage them not to only share a glowing review online after their stay, but also recommend the experience to a friend and family member. I touched that already. So when I said, like, I'm the best advocate for a very nice experience that I had at one of your hotels. Yeah. For example, if it may be a surprise to a person, you might be surprised with a personalized gift in the room. And I can tell you one thing, it's a true fact right now. So I came down here to that hotel in London right now, and they put me a nice little London picture drawn with iced sugar on a plate that looks really nice, and put just one macaroon on top and saying, Michael, thank you very much for being here. It cost the hotel like whatever, €2, €1. I'm not pretty sure. They do it themselves even less. And how good is that? I even tell you now in a webinar. Yeah, so this is how good it is. And will I come back? I've got a personal note from the GM. I will come back for sure. Yeah. Sorry.
Maybe you need some time, Michael, because
I need to have a drink. I just had
Yes, you can have some water, of course. I find very interesting all the information. Really, I think this webinar is really helpful to understand how CRM can help the hoteliers. So if anybody has a question, can ask it in the Q&A, or Stella have sent in the chat the contact details of Michael. That you can contact with him directly if you have some personalized questions. Otherwise, you can also organize a demo with Sendine. I have sent you also the link in the Zoom chat, because I'm pretty sure, Michael, that many people say, okay, how that will work for my hotel. So the best way to find out how it will work with your hotel is to organize a demo. I'm translating in Greek. Όποιος μας παρακολουθεί, αυτό που λέω είναι ότι τα CRM είναι πραγματικά πάνε και καρφώνονται πάνω στις δικές σας ανάγκες. Οπότε προτείνω να οργανώσετε ένα demo με τη Sendine, χαμόσαλο demo, έτσι. Κάθε μέρα σας προστείλουμε με διαφορετικό εργαλείο, για να δείτε πώς αυτό μπορεί να βοηθήσει το ξενοδοχείο σας. Και όπως σας λέω, τα demo θα σας δώσουν και κάποιες ιδέες σε σχέση με γενικότερα την οργάνωσή σας. Οπότε δοκιμάστε τις λύσεις. So, Michael, I'm closing again my microphone, my camera, and you can go on.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'll share the details are on the last slide, actually. Otherwise, would be a pleasure if you want to have a webinar after the session today. And we even have a colleague who speaks Greek, and I can get him in the call as well if you want to have a webinar as well. So he's a very, very good gentleman. And yeah, let's kick on that one. So we just determined, like, why is a CRM can be a real game changer for your hotel. But a lot of hotels come back and say, hey, that's a complex implementation, and we require alignment, cooperation, collaboration, because between my departments. And now especially, like, I don't have the workforce anymore, so I'm missing people. Just 5 people are left the company, yeah, for example. So therefore, let's take a look at some key elements to keep in mind for an implementation. So it's tough to really have a define roles and bookings. All right. Let me see. I think I'm missing. Okay. So the question is like, what do you want to accomplish by developing a CRM? It's of course you will use your CRM to drive guest engagement. We have that. Oh, sorry. So I'm just missing a slide actually, I think. Okay, there we go. So it's tough to have a strategy actually. So what would you do? Like, to kick it off, it's important to identify your key strategies and objectives. Of course, you need to have that. Technology is just supporting that actually. What do you want to accomplish? Why do you want to have a CRM? Are you looking at a CRM as a marketing tool only for revenue generation, as an operations tool to enhance guest service, or both? You need to make up your strategy. It's all your strategy. A CRM provider will always be complementing you and support the strategy. So you set the scene and the technology will just tie back into that. So this goes back to the key benefits that we just outlined earlier, actually. How will you use the CRM to drive higher guest engagement? How do you do the personalization, guest satisfaction, loyalty, advocacy, automation and profitability? What are your objectives in each of these areas? What strategy will you undertake to achieve them, and so forth and so forth? Yeah, I think there are some roles and responsibilities that need to be discussed actually. So who's doing what? Yeah. So next steps would be to identify the CRM roles and responsibilities. Yeah. Roles may vary by hotel, but typically the CRM team includes the marketing director, front office manager, guest relation, revenue manager, and general manager. All these key positions that we just talked about, like more or less. GM less, marketing more, revenue a lot. The CRM team undertakes the planning and implementation strategies needed to achieve CRM objectives. Yeah. They must work in close alignment and cooperation with other departments and meet regularly to review performance and planning. The marketing director often takes the leadership of the role, but we've seen hotels implementing a champion. Yeah, it's not just, it doesn't have to be the marketing person. So if you're short in staff, you can also have a one person dedicated outside the marketing department. That is the champion for the CRM, monitoring that, taking responsibilities for BI and so forth. Yeah. Front office manager plays a lead role on the operational side, overseeing guest service, guest recognition, data entry, like picking up the right email address at the front desk and other guest-facing departments. Yeah. So like housekeeping as well. So that's the hub for the operations. I would say, or we would suggest, the front office is going to be the hub of distributing information to the ops team. Yeah. And I know it from my times when I worked, when I got my education in a hotel, I worked at housekeeping as well, and I picked up my list in the morning. So what rooms need to be done? Is that going to be a departure? Is that going to stay? And why not put another list in there saying like, these are the people arriving today, or these are the people on property. We know information about them. Prepare the room. Yeah. Technology. Yeah, of course, there's a lot of technology out there. So once your team is identified and in alignment, next step of implementation strategy is sourcing and defining the technology. Yeah. So what software systems will you invest in to manage the CRM? If you're using a CRM system, what systems will you connect to aggregate and store data in the central database? Is there anything like a Wi-Fi system? Is there anything like a POS, PMS, another PMS? You might have two different PMSs in two different properties. You all want to put them into one source. At a minimum, hotels should integrate the CRM with a PMS to create rich guest profiles, gain an understanding of the guests, and foster more meaningful and personalized interactions. Another key factor of the integration is the revenue management system. If you have one, and I saw ideas in your portfolio, Nikos, Sendan, we've got an own RMS, but an RMS can really be a key integration to a CRM, because you possibly want to think about personalized pricing. Yeah. So I think that's something that might be a very good integration to think of. Yeah. you'll be able to identify your most profitable guests, and target new guests who match that profile. Again, we talked about that lookalike, and therefore create highly targeted marketing campaigns. Other key integrations include the central reservation system, like Web Hotelier, POS and loyalty software. If you want to create a loyalty software or portal where people can sign up and use that as a loyalty scheme, you want to have that data in there as well. The more sophisticated your CRM efforts become, the more internal and third-party system you will integrate. So the more you have in line, it must make sense though. We've got a lot of inquiries that come up and say like, hey, can you integrate our phone system? Well, basically, technically, yes, you can integrate anything, open API technology, but does it really make sense? Does it make the difference? Does it make the difference in the money I invest into a connection? Because it's always, connection means money. You have to put it into your hands, and maintenance fees on a monthly basis. So that's something to really think about when you integrate new data sources, but it can help. But a CRM provider, and that's what we do as Sendine, we would always discuss that with you and say like, hey, basically, nice idea. We like that idea. Technology-wise, we can do it, but let's talk about if it's really necessary for you. Does it really drive your business forward? Does it really get more revenue? Is there a return on investment in the foreseeable time? Things like that. So it's always like a something that's a you should really get into your thoughts actually. So set goals for data management. Of course, data cleansing is something there. Another key element is the management as well. So during data input and integration processes, data can come out dirty. That's what we experience. So cleaning is key. It's a lot of duplicates in there, errors, mistypes and typos, discrepancies, incomplete information. For data to be useful and reliable, it must be clean. And it can be cleaned up by merging profiles as well. So you need to establish standard rules, language and formatting across the system for data entry, storage and use. You will need to provide training and guidelines to staff on data entry. That's a key factor. And we call it in, out. I'm not pretty sure how you call it in Greece, but the more dirty data you put in, the more dirty data comes out at the end. So it's something that's you need, so less cleaning up. And you will need to ensure compliance with consequent guidelines and privacy regulations. GDPR. Can I use the data? Is it did the guest give me data to process it in my marketing? CRM providers should 100% give you the peace of mind of being GDPR compliant. Very important. I mean, all of them, I think they do it. Of course, Sendine does, but it's very important because you want to make sure that anything you send out is GDPR compliant. You don't want to be in the position that somebody comes back and says, hey, you sent me a message I didn't want to receive, and then whatever goes to next step and then sues you or something. So please be aware that the CRM provider you might be going for is GDPR compliant. Basically, software providers should really give you guidance on these steps and give you SOPs. I said standard operations procedures. We always give that. So implementing doesn't just mean to give you access to the tool and connect, just the technical side. Implementing means we are your partner. We give you consultancy. We give you information about like how should you use it, what best practices are there. That's very important as well. So make sure, should you think about a CRM, that your partner is going to be more or less a friend, and that keeps you away from trouble. So what about, say, maintenance and reporting? It's always like a big thing where you say like, hey, how do I maintain it? How do I report this? A CRM should really go for, on the reporting side, on scheduled reporting. So you don't have to take care of that anymore. You just set up the CRM, sends you a revenue report to XYZ people in the morning automatically in your email inbox. That's one thing. So once the CRM program is up and running, so after implementation, it needs constant attention. This means monitoring and measuring the effectiveness of CRM activities like marketing campaigns, guest surveys, guest loyalty, and guest spend need to be monitored in a way. You can automate that process though. You will need to report performance to the CRM team and other stakeholders. meet them with meet with them regularly and determine if you're on track. You can do that. It's a return on investment to achieve your objectives, or if you need to revise your strategy. You will also need to maintain the healthy database by conducting regular data quality checks and purging old and inactive records. Normally, the CRM would do that for you. So so that's part of the CRM. This will keep the storage costs down and engagement metrics high. So if there is a new, for example, if there's a new profile being inserted in the PMS, I know it's stressy for receptionists. I know it's stressy for the reservation. So Michael Marchant calls in. It's quicker than I just put a new profile in. The CRM then will just feed, the PMS will just feed that back in real time to the CRM, and in the CRM it will then be matched and merged again. But still, again, bad in, bad out. SOPs are very important. There are several different measures that we can do, because we don't throw away any kind of data. It's always stored somewhere, but it's good to have clean data. And this is a point where you just should think about a nice newsletter or a loyalty scheme. And I'm not talking Marriott loyalty schemes like earn points, spend points. Loyalty scheme can be a portal where people sign up, and by signing up, they get a benefit like 10% off best available rate. Good for you. You get direct bookings, yes, with a 10% discount, but for the 10% discount, in return, you get crispy, clear data. Because if I sign up for something there, I really put my name and my email address correctly and all that stuff. So it's a very good thing to think about, maybe a loyalty scheme or a nice, meaningful newsletter as well. That will bring you really, really good data. Steps to success. So what can we do? Your system and understanding the data flow is crucial throughout the hotel. Identify data silos and which platforms you want to incorporate. So that's the first thing. Get access or assess systems to the CRM. Define the CRM scope and vision of with clarity. Who will be responsible for managing the project? What functions will the CRM serve? Is there anything that needs to be set up? Is there any report that needs to be scheduled? Things like that. Prioritize goals and plan them within a phased approach. Fill your voids first, then move to the nice haves. Create touch points. You need to reach out and reach your goal. Set expectations and be clear with your vendor. That's us then in this case, hopefully. What does your single point of truth look like? What do you want to create? Create an ideology, articulate it and document it. Create the A team of a goal-oriented problem solvers. Look for experts who play well with the others as well. So have a nice team looking after your CRM. It is crucial. Ensure that they gain alignment and make group decisions. Actually, so it's setting up. It's not just a system that you have. Transparency is key. Don't be hesitant to over-communicate. Communicate as much as you can. Get all parties on the same page with plans, aggregated into a single view. Meet face-to-face and share frequent updates. Have maybe a CRM meeting in the morning. Why not? A quick one, not long. Stand up. We had that at Marriott. Break up the project in interactive sprints with usable technology delivery via milestones. So really set your milestones. This avoids project fatigue and gets your team working in a faster system, actually. So set points where you want to go for. Set, say, milestones. Set up for success by defining business rules and create user groups with access levels. So when you really install the system, develop automated rules like reportings, life cycle goals and reporting models. Create an adoption plan with ongoing checkpoints and visible executive support. Once you're live, it's important to not let the momentum fade. So I know sometimes it's like, oh, we've got it live now. Oh, we've got my strategy implemented. That's fine. It's fine. We don't have to take care of that. But then you just keep the track out of it. So use it as a day-to-day new technology that will really help you. Work with your team to set up monthly meetings. I mentioned that before, to keep track of your success and ensure everyone is accountable. If I use it, make me accountable for what I produce and who I report to and things like that. So that's now that you know a little bit about what important is for implementing a CRM. And let's see what you should ask for. If you go for a CRM provider, let's check what you should ask. Yeah. So I'm in search for a CRM now, but I don't know what to ask. Yeah. Let's see. Go for that. Yeah. So go for the CRM features actually. So a middleware system interface structure for managing connectivity, one or two way. Yeah. You should be able to connect. Is there an existing API for your PMS? Existing? Are there any social medias or other sources that can be implemented? Is there anything dedupe? Does the CRM provider clean up? Is there a central data warehouse, or is that just outsourced? Is that flying over somewhere? Guest profiles as well. It's the guest profile management that provides a single accurate view of the guest. Is that existing? Do you have one view? Things like that. And say, let me just go for that. And say, just go for that, ask for that, the guest profiles say, if you look at that, the guest profile, you need to have one view of all the information like RFM, they are the core of any hotel CRM software. They must be the core because that's exactly what you're aiming for, so without a clean database of a guest profile, it's nearly impossible to effectively personalize communication, which ultimately leads in costly unsubscribes and low campaign conversion. You see a return on investment campaigns not there. Of course, the profile is not enriched, things like that. Make sure that the CRM you select is able to provide a holistic view of the guests. So hotels and resorts need an experienced partner. I know that there are a lot of providers out there who claim to be a CRM, but they're not. And I'm not blaming them, because a lot of people say like, oh, CRM, yeah, I'll do CRM. But there are just a handful of really good big CRM providers out there, Sendam being one of them. But obviously there are big other guys out there as well. So ask me if I share that with you. But yeah, there are good other guys as well. Can they provide a holistic view? Yeah, you need an experienced partner. So you need a 360-degree of view of your guests actually. Yeah, to accomplish that, a CRM provider must be able to capture the following guest attributes. Yeah, so we're going to see. Oh, it's not going to come up here. It's guest history and value stats, behavior and preferences, very important, interest and intent, and engagement. Yeah, and that's RFM. RFM is recency, frequency, monitoring. It's not just what the guest spends with you one time. I can spend, let's say, 10,000 euros on one night for what, I'm not sure why and how, but yeah. But am I as good as the guy or the lady who comes for the last 3 years, in total spends 7,000 just, but you can foresee future bookings as well. So recency, frequency monitor is very important to really determine like, who's my best guest? What do they spend? How can I rely on them in the future? You just don't want that one hit. Yeah, I'll take that. But you want constant success with your guests as well. Yeah. Channels. How do you communicate? Yeah, Hotel CRM should offer the ability to automate communications, create, manage, create them and manage them across the digital channels: email, web, display, mobile, video, and social. Yeah, very important. You don't just want to go out like say like, oh, I can send an email. Oh, that's good, fine. But a lot of countries like in Asia, they rely on social media communications like Weibo, WeChat, and something like that. Yeah, they never would open an email that you send over. Yeah, the confirmation email, but any kind of pre-stay or something, they intend not to open that. Yeah, so you need other channels as well. Looking at automation as well. What automation capabilities are there? Ask them for details about the CRM marketing automation capabilities. To enable the personalization and to implement data-driven marketing. The CRM guys should offer a couple of key functionalities. That's self-service audience segmentation and forecasting, personalization with dynamic content, and trigger-based communication as well. So please be aware that this is automated. You don't want to put in Every single time you want to put in another, if someone joins your audience, you send out one email to the audience, and next time you're going to send it back again. So you want that automation, because otherwise it doesn't really make sense to have a CRM. You can do it via Outlook. Yeah. I mentioned that before, recency, frequency monitoring. Can you look at that? Is the CRM provider giving you that? Segmentation should be flexible. Yeah, you should be able to easily build segments based on the PMS and guest profile to ensure that you only send the right message to the right customer. We talked about that as well. Yeah. So what we recommend is starting your basic segmentation process with the RFM techniques, so recency, frequency, monitoring, which looks at the recency, frequency, monitoring value as a way of differentiate your guests. Make sure your CRM vendor is capable of RMF modeling and allows you to organize your profiles in a way that enables you to answer the following important questions. I've got like 6-7 questions right now. So, and I mentioned that before already. So who stays with you the most often? You want to see like who comes frequently. When do they stay? Do they only come on weekends, or do they come in high seasons as well? Have they visited you lately, or was it like 3 years ago? Yeah. How much do they spend? Yeah. I mean, it's nice to have them on property, but they always come for the lowest price and don't spend a penny on my F&B. Yeah. How much have they spent over the time? Yeah. The total lifetime spent. Who are your high yield guests? Yeah. For the revenue managers in the audience. And who are your lapsed guests? Yeah. So who don't come back? So why? Can I just give them a meaningful, personalized communication? Very important. And one other question you need to ask: so what's the business intelligence? Is there an easy BI tool that can report my successes, my return on investment, my best guests? So reporting is everything in marketing, and you need to sophisticate and have a simple measurement for the property and portfolio level to learn which campaigns and strategies work best, return on investment. Yeah, it's critical to know the business intelligence capability of your CRM provider. Yeah, ask for that. Important functionalities, customizable dashboard. Yeah, so you can actually put on your dashboard what you want to see. The report library with hotel key performances. So go for someone who has got canned reports. It does make sense that you need to create new reports on a daily basis, like, hey, revenue year on year, return on investment, last marketing campaign, data cleanliness. It should be there. Key performance indicators, chart library, drag and drop a query panel for the usability. Data buckets and groupings, formulas and functions, and report scheduling. Very important. Yeah, it does make sense to go and spend 2 hours in the morning at the marketing department or the champion for a CRM and to pull out the reports and send it. That must come from the CRM itself, actually. Can they provide any kind of case studies? Are there any references? Are there any references in my area? Who's working with you? And say give you successes as well. And say well, that's leads me back actually to the Jumeirah Group actually. I'm not pretty sure if everybody knows Jumeirah Group, but it's a world-renowned group of hotels known for luxury hotels and located throughout the Middle East. Big partner to us. They've got Middle East, Europe, and Asian Pacific hotel operations. The brand is home to some of the most beautiful hotels, covering 24 properties, eight countries, and has got a fierce competition globally. I mean, they're competing against 5-star properties as well. So yeah. So they decided for eInsight. That's the product, the enterprise CRM product that Sendam provides. Jumeirah has just harnessed new solutions to master marketing automation and guest intelligence. When it comes to CRM strategy, there are 4 major factors that play a big role. For those data insights, commercial activities and measuring success. When it comes to data, it is very important that the data entry is accurate. Again, so we had that before, like SOPs, and that there are unified standards across the system with the hotel. Therefore, Jumeirah Group uses data entry standards, again, SOPs. They have a dedicated team that includes a data steward whose responsibility is to ensure that the data entered is correct. Guess that. They even have a person dedicated, like telling them who and how to put in data. I mean, this is absurd if you look into small operations, of course, but still everybody's his own advocate, and every receptionist is a professional, and or reservationist, and should put that into a daily life and control him or herself themselves, actually. Yeah. To collect insights about the hotel guest, the CRM Advanced Analytics helps them to unfold insights far greater than reports, and to connect all sources of customer information for better results. With the CRM, the hotel group can make sure that that their marketing activities, whether it's through email or social or in context, relevant and personalized based on the information the guest has shared with them, and the insights derived, and they use the insights to create offers or packages by customer segment. To measure success and to enhance the customer experience, the CRM allows them to look at the metrics like Net Promoter Score, NPS, and Customer Satisfaction Index. You get that from your online reputation management tools sometimes. And also other important measurements like revenue uplift, average length of stay, to determine if their commercial activities generate positive results. So they've got a really strict strategy how to use a CRM. Leveraging data in marketing activities. Well, as you can see, like through the CRM, the hotel group is able to leverage data for their marketing activities. To create packages, the CRM insights enable Jumeirah Group to answer questions like, what should be the minimum length of stay? Which hotels should participate? Which room category should be included? Any added value to be included? Is there anything that we can upsell, cross-sell or something? For email marketing, they're able to leverage the CRM to reach the right audience with a highly relevant and personalized content, as well as at the stage where the customer is researching. So even before they stay, they can target them out. You know what they want, send it over to them. To ensure that the social marketing is not siloed from other activities, they use the same messaging on all marketing channels. So make sure that you've got a standard on what you send out. Doesn't matter which channel you use. But these are just a couple of ideas, actually, that Jumeirah just came up with. And look at that. As an example of a successful campaign, they used data to identify an opportunity with weekend customers who typically stay only 1 night or 2 nights. They created a 3-day package during the weekend that would resonate with the customer groups. Email was sent out based on the historical bookings to ensure that the timing was relevant. It always makes sense. It doesn't make sense to have a weekends coming up in 5 months' time or something. I'll just make it like, hey, next week or something like that. Customers should be receiving the offer in that right time. The campaign was very targeted, even within that segment itself. And the result? Increased average email open rate, as you can see, 45% up for the segments for the mid-20s to the mid-40s now. So they were stayed on mid-20s to mid-40s, 20% up. For the marketing people in the call, that's a big number. The average stay from 1.6 to 3.1. Revenue managers will just like that one. The average spend per stay almost doubled. They were able to achieve this result by gaining insights from advanced analytics. Of course, they look at what they have, making sure that the content was in context with the segment, and working as a team across different departments to look at solutions and drive more business. It's always about communication, but the communication with the CRM will change. It will change because you can base it not on thoughts and assumptions and possibly and things like that. You've got the data sitting in your PMS, in other data silos, bundle them up into a CRM if you want to go for that, and then you will see good results. Thank you very much. Any questions? Nikos, I'm not pretty sure. I think we're going to have...
Thank you very much, Michael. I think it was an in-depth presentation, and you have presented all the CRM science for hotels. I believe that hoteliers should try to make a demo so as to understand better how that solution can help them. Sendine specialize on the hotel CRM. This is the very important thing, that it's not a general solution. It's specialized on the hotels. So all the product team of Sendine makes research on your needs so as to give you the right solution. Correct, Michael?
Yes, absolutely. Sendine, or the CRM, is specifically for hotel and hospitality. So we're not like, I mean, Salesforce is a great solution, and I love Salesforce myself. But if you're a hotel business, you don't want to have a solution that needs to create every kind of single connection to your data IT platform. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. So we send you the details of Michael and the link for the demo in the chat in Zoom. And Michael, thank you very, very much. We will stay in touch because Sendine collaborates with the Hotelier Academy in several different projects. So you will have also very nice content in combination with Sendine. Collaboration with Sendine, sorry. So now in Greek, ευχαριστούμε πάρα πολύ που ήσασταν κοντά μας. Πραγματικά επικοινωνήστε με τον Michael και τη Sendine. Πραγματικά θα σας βοηθήσει. Το CRM είναι πολύ σημαντικό, ειδικά και για μικρά ξενοδοχεία, αλλά για μεγάλα δεν το συζητώ. Και ειδικά εσείς που θέλετε να στήσετε και ένα loyalty και μια επικοινωνία με τους πελάτες, είναι καλό να δείτε λίγο τα CRM. Όλες οι σύγχρονες εταιρείες χρησιμοποιούν CRM. Στο ξενοδοχειακό κλάδο έχουμε λίγο βασιστεί το Pms, αλλά είναι εντελώς διαφορετικό κομμάτι ή τουλάχιστον είναι συμπληρωματικό. Οπότε δείτε το. Thank you, Michael, very, very much.
My pleasure. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.